and welcome to Under the Umbrella. I'm WDTN Plus meteorologist Melissa Barrington. And joining me today, we are joined by David Noel, who is going to be telling us more about fishing across the Miami Valley. He is a member of the Ohio State bass fishing team. Hello and welcome, David.
Hi, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Doing good.
So what got you interested in fishing?
Well, my dad, my grandpa, and my uncles all fish. They got me fishing when I was little, and now it's just exploded into a passion of mine.
And how long have you been fishing?
Since I was about 3 years old.
Okay, so I have a picture here of when you were little.
Yep.
And what kind of fish is that?
That is a largemouth bass.
Okay. And is this one of your more favorite types of fish that you like to catch, or what else do you like to catch?
It's somewhere in the middle for me. I like to fish for muskies, pike, walleye, saugeye, sauger, hybrid stripers, white bass, pretty much any sport fish that eats lures.
Okay. And can you tell me more? I mean, who knew that Ohio State actually had a bass fishing team? Not everyone would know that. Can you tell me a little bit more about it?
Yeah, so a lot of people don't know that we have a bass fishing team. That is because we technically count as a club because the university won't fund us. So we don't get that public recognition very much. But we are at the expo. We do have a booth there, and then we try and host a couple tournaments every year across the state on several different lakes.
So can anybody fish those tournaments that you host?
Yes, anyone is welcome to join. We advertise it on Facebook usually and Instagram. Instagram gets a little bit more focused than Facebook, but we try and get it in both.
And where can folks find you guys on Instagram?
They can search us. They can just look up Ohio State Bass on Facebook or Instagram, and they should be able to find us. Also in I believe it's the bass fishing tournaments in Ohio Facebook group. We advertise in there as well.
Okay. So let's talk about how the fishing has been so far for this past spring and summer. I mean, how's the bite changed? What types of challenges have you faced? We've definitely run into lots of rain over the spring and also over the summer. And then we also just flipped over to really hot weather. So what's it been like for you so far fishing around the Miami Valley?
It's been tough this year. There's still bites. They still have to eat. So I'm still catching fish, but it's a lot harder than most years. I'm putting in a lot more work than most people think I am to catch them. One of the bigger problems is all the rain we've been having. It's really limited the river fishing, which is a major portion of fishing around this area. It's kind of limited me more to the lakes, and I've had to learn a lot more on the lakes because I spend a lot of time river fishing normally, but they've been just flooded all year.
And we have a picture of what the river looked like earlier. This is what, the Ohio River?
Yeah, that was back in June. We decided, all right, we're going because the water's at least down enough, and it looked like that. There was trash everywhere. We still did pretty good on the fishing, but it was pretty rough conditions.
And was it difficult to get the boat into the water because the water was so high?
Yeah, so most of the year we have not been able to safely get a boat in the water at all. On this day, we were able to get it in based on the flows, but like we got the boat stuck on the Pepsi machine there on the ramp because we launched in the dark and couldn't see it. We had to deal with running over trash while we were going down the river pretty much all day. We were hooking into trees trying to cast because there's just so much debris in the river. And then right after that, the river went right back up, and I haven't been down since.
So what about the murkiness of the water down at the Ohio River? How's that been?
It's pretty much looked like chocolate milk all year. It's still like that now. And that's why I'm not going, because sometimes the muddiness can help with the fish because they'll eat lures a little bit more because they can't see it quite as well. But because it's been muddy for so long, it's just making it difficult for them to find it, like lures and stuff.
And has it been difficult for you to find the fish because they may or may not be in the same locations where they typically are because of the water conditions?
Oh, yeah. So what I normally do this time of year, I haven't even been doing it at all. I've been having to fish for other species, different places, stuff that I don't normally do this time of year at all, just to catch fish because my normal stuff is not working. Normally I'm in the rivers, normally I'm wading, but the water's so muddy. We tried wading last week, and we were stumbling over rocks. We were falling because we couldn't see anything in the water, and it's not very safe right now, and the current is up, so it's not enjoyable, and we couldn't find the big fish either.
So overall, it's been more challenging this year or less challenging compared to other years?
Definitely more challenging. Some of that does have to do with the spring because the spring was really bad this year for fishing. The entire spawn got messed up for all fish species pretty much. Most bodies of water, including the lakes, were flooded.
So how did the spawning get messed up?
So each species, they have a specific time of year they spawn. They're going to spawn regardless or they don't spawn at all. It's not like they can just shift it with the weather. So what happened was typically, like the smallmouth in the rivers, for example, they spawn early May-ish typically, and the river was blown out then. So the smallmouth spawned up shallow when it was flooded, and then the river receded a lot, and I think a lot of those eggs got lost. That happened with a lot of fish species this year, or they just didn't spawn, and they just kind of stayed out either in the lake or deeper parts of the river, and the fish just didn't act normal. And then with the extreme heat we got right after that, the transition period is weird. They're really difficult to find, and they just didn't want to eat.
So have you seen any changes now that like we're closer to the end of summer? Or have they changed at all, their behavior, or is it just basically like it's shut off for the season?
A lot of fish species definitely have slowed down. A couple of them are still going, surprisingly. But now the water temperature skyrocketed with the heat, and we were pushing 85, even close to 90 degrees in a lot of places. And normally they don't eat in that, but there was a few fish that were eating really well. Now they've dropped back, and now everything is shut off. I can't find them.
So they must be deeper because that's where the cooler water is.
I mean, that's what a lot of people would think, but I'm still finding them shallow. They're
Okay.
just harder to catch.
And the water is so warm. That's like bath water, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's not comfortable to swim in my opinion.
So you recently you were in a bass tournament, right?
Yep.
And so like you went to, where'd you go?
I went up to Lake St. Clair up in Michigan.
Okay. And what was it like up there? Were they also having trouble with their fishing conditions up at St. Clair?
Yes, that was a big disappointment. I have high expectations for that lake. It is a very well-known fishery, and the fishing is supposed to be incredible up there. I kind of knew where the fish were supposed to be at that time of year. I fished it many times. I kind of knew what I was going to get myself into. I got up there, and I did not anticipate that the extreme cold early on this year, that messed them all up. It messed the spawn up because it was like super cold when they should have been spawning. So they spawned super late, and then we got so hot so fast that the fish got confused. And so normally they should have been in full-blown summer patterns when we were up there, which was 2 weeks ago. But they were still in a transition period where some had gone to summer like habitat, I guess, but they weren't feeding like they should have. And then others just hadn't even made the transition yet, which made fishing very tough up there.
And you even checked in with other local fishermen too to see if you were doing the right things too, right?
Oh, yeah. I had talked to several guys I know up there, and then a lot of local guys as well, local tackle shops and stuff. And I told them exactly where I was, what I was doing, what I was fishing with, and they were all like, yeah, you know this place well. You're right on the money, and you're seeing them. They're just not eating.
So you saw the fish, but they weren't eating, right?
Oh, yeah. Where I was fishing up there, it was like gin clear water. You could see them all. We'd throw baits. They would just kind of come up to it, look right at it, and then they'd just leave.
They weren't hungry, were they?
No.
So did you have to try different techniques then to try to catch them? Because we have that one picture here of you catching this bass. So how did you catch this one?
Caught that one on a swim bait up shallow. We kind of just decided we know they're there. We know they're big. We're just going to commit to it for tournament day, and hopefully they turn on. That didn't really work, but honestly, it didn't really work out for anybody that day. I mean, the weigh-in was pretty disappointing for Lake St. Clair.
So I have a picture here of you and your co-angler.
Yep.
So this is what you turned in, right? So how much did these fish weigh?
Not good.
Not good.
We weighed 3 fish for 6.02 pounds. I was going up there hoping for 5 for 20 pounds or more.
And did anyone catch 20 pounds?
Only one team, which that was really disappointing for St. Clair. It was a 30 to 35-ish boat field. not a massive tournament, but I expected half the field to weigh 20 pounds.
And that didn't happen this year.
No, there was several guys that didn't even catch a fish, which that is horrible for St. Clair.
And you've been to St. Clair before, right?
Oh, I've been going up there for over 10 years.
Uh-huh. And so you were disappointed in this one.
That's the worst that I've ever seen St. Clair, and everyone up there was saying the same thing, and everyone says it was due to the extreme cold all the way through, really through May, honestly. It's even around here. It was cold. I caught that muskie at sea. I caught that muskie back in like late May, and it was 32 degrees when I launched the boat.
Let me see if do I have a picture of that one?
You should.
Okay, is this it?
No.
No, that's not the right muskie.
No, that one was a couple weeks later.
Oh, okay. Well, okay, so you did catch another muskie. So you've also caught other fish then too, right?
Yes, I just meant that one in particular. Well, even that picture, that was caught in June. Look at that. I'm wearing a sweatshirt. I'm wearing bibs.
Yep.
I should be in shorts and a t-shirt in June.
Definitely not what you would consider June weather.
No, not at all.
Yeah. So definitely making it a lot more challenging so far for this season, huh?
Oh yeah. And then when the heat came on, there was like a 2-week period where they were biting real good, and then it got so hot that they just turned right back off.
Well, we are going to pause right here, and we are going to take a short break. And when we come back, we are going to continue talking with David Noel from the Ohio State bass fishing team, and we'll have more coming up on Under the Umbrella when we come back. Hello and welcome back to Under the Umbrella. I'm WDTN Plus meteorologist Melissa Barrington, and joining us today is David Noel. He is with the Ohio State bass fishing team, and we are talking about fishing across the Miami Valley. And in this half, we're going to kind of back up a little bit here, and we're going to talk about how the fishing has changed starting from like late March and then working our way through the rest of the summer. And you said it's been very challenging this year, right?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the stuff in the springtime that I like to fish and wanted to fish, I really just didn't even get a chance to. I guess if we're starting in late March, I like to river fish a lot of the time that year. I do some muskie fishing too, but the river fishing, it was tough. It was either way too low or it would just get flooded, and then the river levels would never come back down, and we get more rain. And I like to smallmouth fish a lot that time of year. I didn't really do much, and I wasn't that successful at it. I just couldn't find them. And then the muskie fishing, I just never got to do it because the water was so high, and I kind of need low flows to do what I wanted to do.
So, so in the March timeframe, what's your target fish at that time of the year?
If I'm in the rivers, I'm looking for smallmouth, occasionally pike, but those are kind of hit and miss around here. And then in lakes, I'm looking for early white bass and muskies primarily.
So you mentioned white bass. There's something around here called the White Bass Run. What is that?
Yeah, so pretty much any body of water that has a decent population of white bass will experience a white bass run. There's several places around here that have one. Basically, all it is white bass, when they spawn in the spring, they will run either up the creek or to the backs of coves in lakes, or if they're river fish like the Ohio River, they will run up the tributaries of the Ohio to spawn. And usually it's all of them in the entire system. So if you get them on the right day, there'll be hundreds, if not thousands, and just about anywhere you go, and you can catch a lot of fish really quick.
Are there any limits to how many you can catch?
You can catch unlimited as long as you're releasing. You can take 30 a person a day.
That's a lot of fish.
Yeah, I mean, we had one day this year, we caught 129 in 3 hours between two of us.
Oh, wow. Let me see. I think I have a picture here of you with the white bass. Is this them?
Yep, that's them.
Okay, so is this a typical size for the white bass that you would catch? And notice here that you're wearing a T-shirt, and you said it's been cold too. So this one, you were it was warm out.
Yeah, that's how spring always is. We get a couple random days where it's 75, 80 degrees. I think it was about 80 that day. Size, they're your normal lake white bass around here. The river ones seem like they're a little bit bigger, typically.
So how many pounds are these roughly, or how big can they get?
So those are probably, I don't know, 0.7, 0.8 pounds. They're not super big. Um, my biggest one in lakes will usually be about pound and a half, maybe 2 pounds, but that's a really big one. If you're talking the river ones, I'm looking for a 3 pounder still. I caught one that's 2 pounds, 4 ounces is my biggest right now.
And do you ever keep them?
It's rare. I don't think they taste great. I think there's a lot other fish that taste a lot better.
So how long does the white bass run typically last? Around what time of the year does it occur? When are you looking for these fish?
A lot of it has to do with weather and when they're going to run because they're just looking for a specific water temperature. And usually they need a little bit of flow in the system. So we do need some rain for them to run. They sure would way too much. But it happens somewhere mid to late April into May. It kind of varies. On a year where it lasts pretty long, I'd say it lasts 3 to 4 weeks for the main run. Usually within there's a couple days that are like the peak days. On years where there's a really short window like this year, I got one good day this year.
Oh, how many days do you typically average, would you say?
When I know they're in there good, I try and fish it 3 or 4 days a week.
That's a lot.
Yeah, but you got to hit them right, and you just got to go a lot because you never know what day is going to be the right day. Like last year, for example, I fished it 5 days in a row. First day, we caught nothing. Second day, we caught 140, and I'm only fishing this for like 2 or 3 hours. Next day, we caught 106, and then we had 2 days after that where we caught about 10. Like, that's how on and off they can be.
Wow. And I'm sure it must vary person to person as well as depending on what they're using to fish for these fish.
Definitely. I've spent the last 5-6 years chasing them around, so I really haven't figured out. I know what they like. I know where they are. And this year was still pretty tough for me.
And do you have any tips for anyone who might be interested in, like, maybe they've never heard of the white bass run and they're thinking, maybe I'll have to think about doing this next year? Any ideas what they could do? When or what they should look for?
Pick a body of water around here that has a population of white bass. If you're doing Ohio River ones, go fish the Little Miami. If you're doing a lake one, almost every lake around here has white bass. Go in the creek, be there, and go around where the people are. Typically where the people are, that's a good starting place because that's considered like the community hole for them. I try and stay away from the people, but a good starting place is around the people. And throw something that's small and white or shad colored.
Not hot dogs, right?
No. Throw a lure, you'll catch more.
Okay. And it's going to vary, like you said, on how much anyone is going to catch. Like you said, one day you caught 5, and then the next day you might catch a couple hundred.
Correct. I mean, you got to commit to it. It's not one of these things where you can just kind of show up and you're just going to whack them, or you're going to show up and there's nothing there. They are there pretty much every day. They don't eat every day.
So is it better to maybe go like after it rains, before it rains? Do you want a couple dry days in between before you start testing this out? Do you want it to be cold, hot? What time of day? Does all of that make a difference?
I kind of fish at any time of day. I've tried anywhere from 5 in the morning till 9 at night and everywhere in between. Doesn't really make a difference, in my opinion. Usually I fish late afternoon, but it doesn't make that big of a difference. Usually I'm looking for the water temperatures to come up quite a bit, so I'm kind of waiting for warm weather. Ideally, I can get a little bit of rain, not a lot, and then usually they'll go with that starting in about April.
And speaking of heat and rain, you've been disappointed with the heat and the rain so far this summer, right? And it's got nothing to do with the white bass run. It's just been fishing in general, correct?
Yeah, I want to fish rivers. That's what I like to do. I want to fish river smallmouth, but it's so tough to fish them right now with muddy water, and it's been muddy all year. The fish are having a hard time finding baits. The big ones are really hard to locate, and I think they're honestly just confused because they're not where they should be most of the time.
So would you say that the fish, their behavior has changed because of the heat and the wet weather?
I don't know if they've changed. I think they've just become more difficult to catch. Like a lot of areas that typically hold a lot of these species of fish, and rivers in particular, you can't even access them a lot of the year. Right now you can, but it's still muddy, so it's pretty hard to get them.
And how has it changed? Like as we've gone through summer, we've had a few more dry days here and there. Has that? But it's warmed up on top of that, and then we've also had higher humidity coming in. Has that played a role, or what about the river levels? Like, just how are they still up?
They've come back down to like being what I would consider fishable, but it's still muddy. We need like an extended period of time for them to clear up and I'll get all the sediment to settle to the bottom of the rivers. Like I said, we tried waiting last week because we were like, well, it's up a little bit, but it's wadeable. We did okay, but we were stumbling over rocks. My friend fell because it's not safe. You can't see anything. And we couldn't find a lot of the big fish because you pretty much, with the muddy water, you have to throw it right in their face. Otherwise, they won't eat.
Oh, so you have to actually literally see the fish and you're having trouble seeing the fish. So that's kind of a bad combination between the two.
You don't have to see them. They have to be able to see the bait.
Okay.
The problem is right now, a lot of baits that I throw this time of year, they need to be able to see it. And they can't right now. So I'm having to throw different baits. But then I'm just kind of taking a guess at where they are. Because if I'm not hitting them on the head, they're just not eating.
Well, that definitely makes it challenging if you're not hitting them on the head.
Yep. That's why I've been only fishing places that I know really, really well.
So have you been fishing less because the weather conditions haven't been ideal this season?
I wouldn't say less because I like to fish too much. But I've been fishing differently. Like I said, I like to fish rivers and creeks a lot. This year, I haven't really fished them hardly at all. I've kind of stayed away from them because I like to go where they're biting and where it's, I guess, easier to catch them. Or where I can find it to be easier to catch them, and the lakes have definitely been better.
Okay, and so have you found it easier to catch a certain species this year versus another one, or ones that you haven't normally seen very much of this year because of the weather conditions at all?
For whatever reason, the sawguy fishing has been really good this year. I mean, last year I caught 2 the entire year because I didn't spend very much time fishing for them. This year, I've probably caught a few hundred of them at least.
Oh my, that's a lot.
Yeah, the sawguy have been really good, and I've been finding big ones.
Is that unusual to find big ones?
Oh, yeah. I've caught my biggest sawguy of my life this year.
And how big was that?
I caught a 26-incher that weighed like 6.5 pounds.
And that was here in the Miami Valley?
Yeah, it was in one of the lakes around here.
Wow, that's amazing. And what's the biggest muskie that you've caught around here?
I caught a 50-incher earlier this year. And then I caught a 51-incher 3 years ago.
So you can catch the fish around here, it sounds like, but it sounds like it takes a little bit more patience and a little bit more finessing the fish.
Yep. It's, if you want to see what I'm catching, you can look at my Instagram. It's David Noel _fishing. I don't post there all the time, but I post the highlights. So you can see a lot of my fish on there. I fish for a little bit of everything around here. Most of it is in this general area. But I don't really say where I fish because I don't want to blow spots out.
Well, that's some great information, and I'd like to thank you very much for joining me on Under the Umbrella today. And I'd also like to thank all of you for joining me on Under the Umbrella, and hopefully you learned something new about fishing across the Miami Valley. And until next time, you can always email me at undertheumbrella@WDTN.com if you have a topic that you are interested in. Until next time, have a great day.